Hiya! Hello, fellow Cantonese speaking niece and nephew. Today we use Uncle Roger to help us learn Mandarin. Very bad accent, I know, don't laugh at me. We have here an old video that we did with Uncle Roger, and we're gonna take his lines from it and go from English to Cantonese and then over to Mandarin. So let's go.
Hello, nephew Mike, how you doing?
Hello, nephew Mike, how you doing? So first let's bring this over from English to Cantonese. Hello, nephew Mike, how you doing? Alright, that becomes
Hello Mike 侄仔你好嗎 Hello Mike 侄仔你好嗎
which basically means hello Mike, nephew, how you doing? So in Mandarin this becomes hello. Hello is basically what we call a loan word in Mandarin, like we say as well. There is a character for it which is basically hello. However, more commonly we just say hello. Next one is Mike, his name is Mike. Alright, next one is nephew. Nephew is
侄仔 in Cantonese, and in Mandarin that becomes 侄子侄子
And finally we have 你好嗎, which in Mandarin becomes 你好嗎你好嗎 probably the most famous Mandarin saying in the world. So as you can see here, it's literally the exact same sentence in both Mandarin and Cantonese.
Aside from that one little change we made, which is really just a word preference difference. You know, North Americans call fries fries, and British people call them chips. Word preference difference.
That's why I always say if you're a Cantonese speaker, always leverage your Cantonese and go from Cantonese to Mandarin because it's just so much easier and the grammar and sentence structure is so simple. Now let's move on over to a more complicated sentence. Hiya.
No, don't put milk in rice cooker.
No, don't put milk in rice cooker. And by the way, according to Uncle Roger, once you speak in a little bit of accent, you have to maintain accent the whole video. So now, I spend rest of video speaking in Uncle Roger accent. No, don't put milk in rice cooker. 唔好將牛奶倒入電飯煲裡面. 唔好將牛奶倒入電飯煲裡面. First word here is 唔好. 唔好 in Cantonese means don't, alright? In Mandarin, we replace 唔好 with 不要, 不要. So used in the exact same way. 唔好出去, don't go out. In Mandarin becomes 不要出去, 不要出去. So 唔好 become 不要. This accent not easy at all. How Uncle Roger do it? So next one we have here is Zhang, and this is a bit of a complicated subject. So I switch back to normal English and not Uncle Paja for one moment, okay? Why do I sound British, but very bad British? So Zhang is part of a family called the Zhang and Ba structure in Chinese, which is actually quite complicated for Chinese learners to learn. However, if you speak a bit of Cantonese, it's actually a very easy thing to pick up. Normally in Chinese, we have a subject, verb, object order. So for example, 我食完蘋果啦. I finished the apple. Subject, I, 我食完. The verb, object, 蘋果, which is the object, alright? What Zhang allows you to do is it turns your subject, verb, object sentence into a subject, object, verb sentence. So it becomes 我將蘋果食完啦. Now, why do Chinese people do this? What it does is it allows us to put emphasis on a different point in the sentence. So 我食完蘋果啦 doesn't really have much emphasis on anything. It just says I finished the apple. Now, 我將蘋果食完啦 puts more emphasis on the result of the action, which is the finishing of the apple, which is why we use it in Chinese. It puts more emphasis on that thing. Cantonese, we use 將. In Mandarin, we can use 把. So whenever you use that 將 structure in Chinese, replace that 將 with a 把. Okay, so we have 唔好將,不要把. Now I'm back to Uncle Paja. Okay, so resume accent. I did not cheat just now, okay? It's because I had complicated thing to explain. Next one is 牛奶, which is basically milk. In Mandarin, that become 牛奶, 牛奶. Next word we have is 倒, which basically means to pour, which in Mandarin becomes 倒. Same in both Mandarin and Cantonese. Next is 入, which means to enter, pour into, 倒入. And in Mandarin, we can say 倒入. Now, 倒入 perfectly okay as well. However, more common everyday language is 倒進. So you can normally replace your verb to enter in Cantonese 入 with 進 in Mandarin, and you're good to go. So for example, 入去 in Cantonese, to go in Mandarin, replace that 入 with 進. In Mandarin, it becomes 進去, 進去. Next word is 電飯煲, which basically means rice cooker. Now, rice cooker in Mandarin, you can say 電飯煲, 電飯煲. However, more common to say 電飯鍋, 電飯煲, switch to 電飯鍋. But if you say 電飯煲, people understand you as well. However, just know, not as common. You might sound stupid. Last one we have here is 裡面. 裡面 basically means 裡面. 裡面 in Mandarin. So finally we have no, don't put milk in rice cooker. In Cantonese become 唔好將牛奶倒入電飯煲裡面. In Mandarin become 不要把牛奶倒進電飯鍋裡面. Notice how so similar between Cantonese and Mandarin, except for a couple word switch. And that is why leverage Cantonese very important, as we do in the Canto to Mando blueprint. If you want to learn more, see link in description box below. I give up, guys. This accent is exhausting to maintain. I cannot. I have to give major credits to Uncle Roger, Nigel, man. That accent is not easy to maintain for a long period of time, okay?
Milk go with coffee and cereal.
Milk go with coffee and cereal. So first in Cantonese it becomes 牛奶係用喺咖啡同玉米片裡面嘅. Okay, so let's explain. I can't shake off the accent now. What the heck? I cannot shake. Now it's like coming out as some weird accent hybrid. Anyway, okay, first word here is 牛奶, which in Mandarin becomes 牛奶. Next one is 係, which means is. As we know, we went through this in the Demon Slayer video. Replace that 係 with the 是 in Mandarin and you're good to go every single time. Next one is 用, which in Mandarin is the same thing. It becomes 用, alright? Next one is 係, which basically means at somewhere. So we went through this in a lot of other videos. In Mandarin, replace that 係 with a 在. Next one is 咖啡, which in Mandarin becomes 咖啡. Same thing, same character, same everything. Next one is 同. And 同 here basically means and. And in Mandarin, replace all your 同 for and with 和. Replace that 同 with 和 and you're good to go, alright? Next one is 玉米片, which basically means like cereal flakes. In Mandarin, that becomes 玉米片. Next one we have is 裡面, which basically in Mandarin, same thing, 裡面. Went through this earlier. Alright, last one is 嘅, and this 嘅is what we call a 係 plus 嘅structure in Cantonese. In Mandarin, we have the exact same thing. Replace that 係 plus 嘅structure with a 是 plus 的 structure. So for example, 我係琴日食完蘋果嘅. 我是昨天吃完蘋果的. In this case, same thing, replace your 嘅 with a 的. And finally, in Cantonese, that becomes 牛奶係用喺咖啡同玉米片裡面嘅. In Mandarin, that becomes 牛奶是用在咖啡和玉米片裡面的. Alright, final line.
Don't do that. 係呀.
Don't do that. Hiya. Classic Uncle Roger. I'm not gonna do the accent anymore. My mouth is dead. I thought I could hold it for a long time. In Cantonese, 唔好咁樣做. 唔好咁樣做. Alright, so let's go through this. First one is 唔好 in Mandarin. We went through this before. That becomes 不要. Alright? 咁樣 basically means like this. In Cantonese, we say 咁樣. In Mandarin, we normally use 這樣. Alright, so finally, last one we said 做 basically means to do. In Mandarin, that becomes 做. Alright, so finally, 唔好咁樣做. Don't do it like this. Don't do this. Alright, in Mandarin, that becomes 不要這樣做. Very straightforward, alright?
Hiya, my voice hurt a lot from doing Uncle Roger accent earlier.
I cannot do any more, okay? I go away. Cantonese speakers, click here to learn Mandarin with Demon Slayer, and click here to watch a video that YouTube thinks you'll love.